Good morning to all of you. So before we begin with the topics, uh, or rather the topic that we are going to cover today, okay, I would like to ask you whether you have any questions regarding what we have learned so far, especially in generation of three-address code, right, which we discussed last week. And yeah, in yesterday's lecture, what we saw was how we divide our three address code into basic blocks by first identifying the leaders, right? And then once the basic blocks are identified, we decide that which block is the predecessor or successor of which other block, right? And we also decide that this will be the entry point and this will be the exit point, right? And we will decide from where to where, right? From which block to which block the edge is supposed to be drawn, and hence we make a graph representation known as a flow graph for our basic blocks. So this is what we had discussed in last class, right? And what we covered so far was from the book by Aho Ullman, okay, also known as Dragon Book, right? Which is one of the textbook or reference book of our subject. Now today what we are going to discuss is we will see a detailed algorithm for elimination of common sub-expression, which was one of the optimizing transformation which we saw in the introduction to the subject, right? And we had seen a very small example, okay, to understand this concept. Now, what we are going to see is how step by step, okay, using an algorithm which is very popular, okay, that is known as available expression algorithm, okay, that we will learn today, and we will see that how this optimization transformation is going to happen. Okay, so let me give you a formal definition of what is common sub-expression elimination, right? And this topic, okay, it is given very well in the book by Steven Lutnick. Okay, let me type the name in the chat. So if you want to refer, right, as such, if you just follow the PPT, okay, I think that should be sufficient. But still, if you are interested, okay, then you can just refer this book. Let me write it down in the chat. It is Advanced Compiler Design and Implementation by Steven S. Lutnick. So today, what example I'm going to discuss, okay, it is from this particular book. Right. And this is the book actually used not for undergrad level, okay, so not for this 7th and CC subject, okay, we use this textbook for ACT, okay, so you are not required to refer this in detail, but there are some examples, okay, which are very well given in the book, right? So let us start with the topic. So what is common sub-expression elimination? We are finding those computations which are always performed at least twice, okay, more than once, right, on a given execution path. And what we do, we eliminate the second and later occurrences of them. That is the common sub-expression elimination. We eliminate them, right? So how do we identify that an expression is a common sub-expression? Okay, there are two things we have to do. First is if there is another occurrence of the expression whose evaluation always precedes this one in the execution order. Now, you know that because of various flows, right, because of various loops in your code, many a times it may be possible, and also because of jump statements, right, there are so many things into your code, right, that you have to ensure that the occurrence of the expression is always preceding, okay, the expression that we are currently considering, then we can call it a common sub expression. And second thing, very, very important, that the operands of the expression remain unchanged between the evaluation, right? So if here we will be more giving emphasis on binary operations, right? So we will be talking about both the operands. So if any one of the operands changes, right, then the result will change, and then you cannot call it a common sub expression, right? And then you are not supposed to eliminate it because it will be a separate expression, right? It will not be a common sub expression. So these two things we have to keep in mind, that for every execution order, right, no matter how the flow goes on, right, in your code, the occurrence will always come after a particular expression, okay? Then only that expression is called a sub expression which is common, and the operands must remain unchanged. So what this transformation is going to do, it will remove the recomputations of common sub expressions, right? And what we will do, we will replace them with the saved value. So what we will do, once an expression is evaluated, its result will naturally be stored somewhere, right? That saved value will be there. We will simply replace it when again that expression is encountered. We will just replace it with that value, so it doesn't have to recompute it. Okay, so this is the technique. Now, this is something which you must all note, that it is possible that the common sub-expression elimination that we are performing may not always be worthwhile. So you may end up complicating your code, okay, though you may feel that you are doing the task of simplifying it, okay. So it is not always the case that this is useful, right? But it has got its own benefits, right? Because it is an optimization transformation, right? So we are required to know it, right? But it must be used judiciously. Now, the optimizers frequently divide this elimination technique, okay, into two phases. First one is that it is done locally within each basic block. Now you all know what a basic block is, right? Because we have already identified basic blocks and we have divided our code into different basic blocks and identified the flow, right? Why it is necessary to draw a flow graph? Why do we need to have a graph representation? So that we know that which expression comes before which one, okay? You to know the flow, graph is the best way of representing it, right? So that is why that step we have done first. Now for each basic block, if you go for the optimization, then it is called a local common sub expression elimination. And then once that is done, in the next phase we go about global, means you do it across the entire flow graph. Okay, now moving further, see over here, just have a look at this one. Okay, what we are doing on the left, okay, what you see is you should be able to find a common sub expression, okay, a plus 2. I hope you see it, right? In which blocks do you see a plus 2? Okay, you see it in B1. Where else? Yes, you see it in B1 and B3. Yes, correct. Very good. Right. So what we are seeing over here on the left is the flow graph. Okay, we have already made the flow graph. And now what we are trying to do is that we want to apply the technique. So over here, looking at the code, okay, you are able to see that, okay, a plus 2 is occurring twice. Now see if the operand, that is a and 2 is a constant. So naturally it is not going to change, right? It is a literal. But a, whether a is changing anywhere, see, visually, if you see, if A is changing anywhere in any of the flows, see, there are two flows possible, right? There is a condition. If yes, then a certain flow is followed. If no, then it goes through block 2, right? It goes through B2 and then it goes to B3, right? So in any of the flows, if A is not changing, okay, then it is possible consider it as a common sub expression, and then we will try to eliminate it. Are you all following this one? Right. So both these things we have to check, that a plus 2 in B3, okay, we don't have to compute it again, okay, and we will consider it as a common sub expression if a is not changing anywhere, okay, after it is used in B1. Okay, so now let's see that when we do the common sub expression elimination, when we do the elimination, what happens to your flow graph? See what changes are made. Let us observe over here. See what we do. We store the computation a plus 2 into a temporary. Now all of you are well aware that what is a temporary, right? It is a compiler generated temporary, right, used to store values. Okay, but it is different from a variable. Variables are provided or given by the code which the programmer writes, right? And these temporaries are generated by the compiler itself. So T1 is storing the value of a plus 2. Now this T1 is now having the final answer which we will assign to B. So a plus 2 assigned to B is equivalent to now these two new um, lines of code, right? These two three address codes, if we can say, right? And then when again we need to go for a plus 2, we are not computing it. Instead, what we are doing, the value stored in the temporary T1 is assigned to D in block B3, right? So over here, what we are doing is we are applying common sub expression to the entire flow, right? So this can be considered as an example of global common sub expression elimination, because there is nothing required locally. So actually we are doing it locally, but locally it is not required, right? So then in next phase, right, we are doing it globally. We will see an example, right, of both these cases, and then you will realize this is a very small code just to give you an idea of the concept. Now let's see, we are now discussing the actual technique of doing local common sub-expression elimination. That is phase 1. Okay, so what we do, we will iterate through the basic block first. Second, we will add entries to, and we will sometimes remove the entries from something which we call as AEB, that is known as available expression block. Okay, so which expressions are called available expressions, that I'm going to define later, but right now you have to understand that it is a set in which we will make some entries and we will delete or remove some entries. Second, we will insert instructions to save the expressions values in the temporary. Okay, so this is one more task that we will do. As you can see over here, we identified that a plus 2 is a common expression. So we stored it into a temporary by generating a temporary and storing the answer. That is what we do. And then for that, we have to also add instruction into our code, right? Into our 3 address code, we added an instruction for the temporary, right? And then we have to modify the instructions to use the temporaries instead. So going back over here and showing you that instead of writing a plus 2 that is being assigned to B, what we are writing, we are using T1, our temporary which we have added, okay, that we are assigning to B. Okay, so this is what we do locally once a available expression is encountered. Okay, so let's see how the technique goes. So these things, I think it is very clear that we will be involving temporaries, right? And we will be using something that is called available expression. Okay, now formally defining what is this available expression. See, it is the name of our analysis algorithm, right, that determines for each point in the program the set of expressions that need not be recomputed. So we will find a set of expressions, okay, which we have already computed, so no need to compute them again. That set, if we maintain, it is known as a set of available expressions. Okay, and that is the name given to the algorithm also. Okay, so these expressions are said to be available at a given point in your program. Fine. So what is the condition? Again, we are repeating so that we don't make a mistake, that the operands of the expression should not be modified on any path. Now, any is very important because there may be multiple paths to the instruction which we are currently talking about. Okay, the point into our current point in our program, right? So it should not be modified. Okay, um, in in any of the paths, right? So that also we have to keep on checking. If at all it is changing, right, then you cannot call that expression to be available. Now we are formally going through the algorithm using AEB. This algorithm, okay, the steps whatever I have written are as it is from the book by Muchnik, which I just told you in the beginning of the lecture, right? So if you do not have the book, you can just follow the slide for the same. Also in the book, a pseudo code is given, right? So if you want to implement this into any programming language, okay, this algorithm, then that code is also given. So interested students, okay, if you want, you can just go through that as well, right? But you are not required to memorize that pseudocode. Okay, if you know the flow of the algorithm, that will be sufficient, right? As such, applying the algorithm is more important over here rather than memorizing these steps. Okay, understanding it will be more beneficial. So let us begin the algorithm. For each instruction, okay, the instruction we will call it as INSP at position I in our code. So position will start from 1. Okay, we will start from first position, right? Then we will go to the next and so on. We will determine, okay, whether it computes a binary expression or not. Okay, so just bear in mind that we are only interested in binary expressions involving two operands. Okay, if it is a unary operator that we are using, or if it is a simple assignment, okay, then this algorithm is not useful for those cases. Then if it is a binary expression, then we have to execute one of the two cases, okay, that we are now further discussing in the algorithm. Okay, so we are now talking about a non-trivial binary case. Okay, the first case that we are now discussing, we will compare the instructions, operands, and the operators with those in the quintuples in AEB. So what is AEB? Once again, let me just remind you that it is the set of available expressions. Okay, it is also known as available expression block. Okay, short is AEB. Fine. Now what we do, what is going to be there in this quintuple? So this set is consisting of not single elements, but they are quintuples. So what are those? Let's see. Okay, the quintuple is in the format as it is shown blue in our slide over here. Okay, first is position, second one is operand 1, then the operator, then operand 2, and if it is having any temporary in which the computation is stored, okay, then that temporary's name, okay, whether it is T1, T2, whatever it is, okay, that will be the fifth value. So this is how our quintuple is having 5 values. Okay. Now, if we find a match, right, we have to check if temporary is nil or not. Okay. So now this is something new. Initially, when we are talking about any expression, okay, it will not have a temporary assigned, right? We are not going to store its result into a temporary. Only when it is necessary, we will make a temporary and store the result into that temporary, maybe T1, T2, so on. Fine. So this is first thing that we will do, that whenever we are having any instruction, okay, we will try to match it into our AEB. If it is nil, okay, if it is matched and it is nil, then what we do, we will generate a new temporary variable Ti. Replace nil in the identified uh, triple by 8. Okay, so wherever it has been identified, okay, operand, operator, and operand, okay, that at that place what we will do, we will replace nil with Ti, right? Then what is next thing we will do, we will add an instruction, right? Remember the previous example, okay, small example that I showed you, in which I added T1, right? And whatever is the operation we did on the two operands, that instruction we will add. immediately before the instruction at the position POS. So at whatever position you are in your code, right, at that position this instruction is to be added. Then replace the expression in the instruction at position POS, old one. Okay. Currently we have already added an instruction. So whatever was there at previous place, okay, what you will do? You will replace the expression with ti. We will replace it with the temporary. I hope this idea is very clear. Okay, the algorithm is clear to you, right? Because this is what we are going to use in our example. Okay, now if a temporary is already found, okay, see, if you already have in this case what I told you, that the temporary is not there, right? So we are generating a new temporary. Okay, now if a temporary is already found, right, then what we will do, we have to simply use that temporary because we have already generated it. So in your current instruction you have to simply use the temporary. Okay, and if there is no match in your AEB, if there was a match, fine, okay, then you go about checking whether temporary is there or not. But if there is no match, then what we have to do, we have to add that expression, we have to add the instructions expression, okay, as a quintuple with TMP, that is our temporary, whether it is there or not, okay, as nil into our available expression block AEB. This set we will add a quintuple. Following. Now what we will do, this is the case where we are checking. Okay, now what is the next thing we do? Okay, there is a question, wait, let me just deal with that. Is TEMP contained in AE? Yes, yes. See, whenever you are having your temporary, okay, if it is a common expression, it rather if it is an available expression, and if a temporary is already generated, then you can replace that expression on the right hand side, obviously, with the temporary if it is already there for the expression. You can, every time you take an instruction, we will be checking into the set to check whether a temporary is there or not, or a match is there or not, and based on that we will make changes into our instruction. Okay, fine. Now once this thing is done, then what we will do, see, we will check if the result variable, result means the variable in which we are storing the value. Right now whatever we have been discussing was about the right hand side, okay, but now we are talking about the left hand side, okay, the result variable of our current instruction. It is occurring as an operand in any of the elements. Then what is the implication? It means that the available expression, okay, if it is containing that variable, it means that we have now changed the value of the variable, right? Then that expression cannot be called an available expression because its operand has now been changed, right? If the operand has been changed because of our current instruction, because we have stored some new value into it, then what we have to do, we have to remove all such quintuples from our AEB. Okay, so all those quintuples will be removed. So with every instruction, there may be changes into our AEB. We may be adding or we may be removing. Or there may be a case when there is no change in our AEB. Okay. So this is how the AEB will have a current scenario of how many expressions are available, okay, which you can use for common sub-expression elimination. Following this, okay, this idea should be clear so that when we use this algorithm, okay, you don't have any doubts, okay, and we can go about the example. So now I'm going to take this example, okay, wherein I have 11 instructions, right? So this is my basic block, how it looks before common sub-expression elimination, okay, right? So what I would advise you is that if you want to be thorough with this example, right, I'm going to show it to you step by step. So please, step by step, also calculate in your notebooks, okay, so that you know that how you have to go about the example, right? So if you do not have a notebook, right, grab it very quickly, right? And let's solve this example. So now I'm starting. Initially, right, AEB will be null, right? It will be a null set, right? There are no elements in it. Now we are talking about position 1. So what we have in position 1, we have an instruction A plus B, we are storing it in C. So we will make an entry into our AEB, as you can see over here. At position 1, we have made an entry. What entry we have made? The quintuple 1, comma, A plus B, comma, nil. Okay, nil. Why we are writing nil? Because initially we are not having any temporary for it. Okay, whenever needed, we will just add the temporary at that last place in our quintuple. Now looking at position number 2. In second position, what we are doing? Okay, we are having an expression m and n. Okay, and we are assigning it to d. So just see over here. Do you have any common expression in your AEB? No, not so far. Okay, so what we have to do? We have to add it. Okay, because it is not existing, so you have to add the necessary quintuple. Okay, so 2 comma m comma and comma n comma nil. This is the case at position number 2. Now same thing for position number 3. What is our expression? B plus D. Do you have B plus D? No. Okay, so add a quintuple into your AEP. Okay, so let me give you a few seconds to note this down into your notebooks. Okay, for first 3 instructions. Okay, because fourth one, if you see, okay, right over here, we are having A plus B. So here you have to apply the algorithm. Okay, you have to apply one more step of the algorithm, right? So moving further, right, up to this much it is quite simple. Now comes the tricky part, so please pay attention. Now at position number 4, what do you see? You see A plus B. And A plus B matches with the first quintuple in AEB, right? So what you have to do? You have to insert T1, okay? You have to create a temporary, okay? So instead of nil, you will change the value to T1, okay? And then you will generate an instruction A plus B stored into T1 at position 1, okay, or rather before position 1. So that will become new position 1, okay, and replace the instruction that was in position 1. So what was there in position 1? You can see over here, it is highlighted. A plus B is assigned to C. So instead of that, what you will write? You will write T1 is assigned to C, which will now go at position number 2. And at I equals to 5, okay, because now all the numbers will be shifted by 1, right? So at position number 5, you will replace the instruction and make it T1 assigned to F. So let's see let us see the change into our code. Okay, so what we are doing, this change we are seeing, right? At position 1, instruction has been added. At position number 2, instruction has been changed. And at position number 5, again instruction has been changed. Are you all following this one? Right? And now what happens to our AEB after position number 4 has been dealt with? Okay, instead of nil, what you see, you should be able to see T1. Okay, means we have to add, rather change the value from nil to T1. Okay. So now coming at position number 5, okay, at position 5, up to 4 we have already dealt, right? Now at position 5, after we have made the change in AEB, you all observe that the temporary instead of nil, I have changed to T1. I hope I'm not going too fast. Okay, if it is, just slow me down. Fine. I hope all of you are following it. No questions so far. Okay. Now let us discuss position number 6. See, initially our instruction set was having 11 instructions, right? Our basic block was containing 11 instructions. Now position 1 instruction we added, so count has gone to 12, right? So now we will always consider new position. So in whenever you are solving the example, okay, this is how you should do that. Whenever you add an instruction, you have to rewrite the whole basic block, okay, with new numbering, okay, so that you do not make a mistake. Now let us discuss position number 6. What we have in position number 6? We have an instruction, okay, wherein we are having a unary operator minus, unary minus, okay, applied to B, and the answer is stored in G. So this is not a binary operation, okay, it is not an expression containing binary operator, so our AEB will remain unchanged. AEB will remain unchanged, we will not add any quintuple over here. Okay, now I'm moving to the next instruction, that is instruction number 7. Okay, at position 7. See what we have over here, B plus A. So now whether it is A plus B or B plus A, because of the commutative property, okay, that we have for our plus operator, okay, arithmetic addition. So what we have to do, we will say that the um, common expression is encountered, because see we already have computed A plus B, so no need to compute B plus A again, right? So what we will do into our table of instructions, can you tell me? Will we make any additions into AEB? There will be no additions into AEB, right? But will there be any change into our instruction? Can you tell me what will be it? Yes, correct. Very good. Okay, so now all of you are getting this, okay, and it is good, right? That we have to use the temporary and change the instruction to this, right? We will replace B plus A with T1. Okay, very good, right? But AEB will not have any change because we have already generated temporary previously, right? So no need to make any changes over here. Okay, all good. Now moving further. We are now at instruction number 8. See, observe this instruction 8, what we have over here, right? J plus A. Okay. So now the answer of J plus A is stored into A. So now see, up till now, whatever we have seen, the right hand side was not present in any of the AEB. Okay, right? If it was present, then we would have to remove the quintuple. So far we did not encounter that case. But here, it is the value is assigned in A. So now, further onwards, we will have new value of A, right? So what we have to do? We have to remove wherever A is occurring in our AEB. So which quintuple we will now remove? 1 comma A comma plus comma B, because there you see an A. So it is removed from AEB, and new AEB, as you can see in your slide, okay, will now have only 2 elements. The set AEB will have only 2 elements. Okay. So I think this is clear, but it is very important to remember not to forget this. Okay. Otherwise, the whole example, okay, you will end up changing the code, because the aim of optimization is that you are not supposed to change the meaning of the program, no matter whatever technique you apply. Okay. So because A is changing, okay, it is not an available expression. Moving to the next position, position number 9. What do you see in position 9? M and N. Okay. So M and N is recognized as a common sub-expression. Why it is recognized as a common sub-expression? You can see that in your AEB, right? So when you see it in your AEB, okay, it was having nil. Okay, but now what we have to do? We have to generate a temporary. Correct. So now what we have generated? Okay, we generated a temporary T2. Okay, and what we will do? After the temporary has been generated, we will add that instruction. We will add that instruction at the place where we have seen it. Okay, at position 3, right? It was seen at position 3 for the very first time. We will get that information from our set. Okay. So sorry if I highlighted 5 over here. Okay, I should have highlighted 3 because that is the instruction we are interested in. Okay, this one. Okay. And now what we will do, over here we will add an instruction. What instruction we will add?
T2 is now having the value, okay, of the computation M and N. Okay, so M and N is assigned to T2. Then what other thing we have to do? D is assigned now the value of T2, and in instruction number 9, okay, old position 9, where we are assigning the value to K, okay, there also we have to use T2. So let's see the change. Okay, all these changes as I have just described, okay, are visible to you over here. Okay, so if you are computing into your books, fine, then just see this, okay, and make the changes. Okay, will you be able to do the next step, okay, yourself into your books? Okay, then I'll show it to you. Okay, so just go about instruction number 11 now, right? Now as we have added an instruction at position number 3, right, so the count of instructions, okay, total number has gone to 30. Okay, so you will have to rewrite your code into your book. So let me give you all some time. Okay, and then what you do is try to go for instruction number 11. Okay, B plus D is assigned to J, so just try to go for that. And tell me what different things will happen. Okay, tell me, will there be any change in AEB? Okay, yes, we will have to take one more temporary, correct. Okay, and that will be T3, right? Okay. What else to do? Yes, correct, yes. Okay, Yash has taken an effort and typed the whole quintuple for us. Okay, phi, comma, B, comma, plus, comma, D, comma, T3, correct. Okay. Will there be change in any of the instructions? Right, then you have to tell me at what position and what change. Okay. First do it in your books. Okay, once that answer is ready, then type it into the chat. Okay. Okay, Job says that add instruction T3, okay, B plus D assigned to T3, correct? Okay, at position number 5. Very good. And at, yes, new position number 6, okay, this we have to add. Okay, correct? Right. Fine. Okay, one more thing I'd like to tell you. Okay, though you may feel that it is quite trivial, okay, what will it matter because we are applying the algorithm properly. But please, in your theory paper, okay, please be careful about the notations that you use. Okay, if it is given into your question where this assignment arrow is used, okay, do not change it to equal to sign or change the direction of the arrow. Okay, right now I know you are typing very quickly into the chat, so many of you are writing different notations, but please make sure that into your notebooks as well as in the examination, do not change the symbols. Okay, you are not supposed to change them. Okay, everyone. Okay, new instruction 11. J, okay, T3 assigned to J, correct. And then that will not be 11, Chetan. Yes, it would be 12, okay, because an instruction would have been added. Yes, old 12. Yes, yes, correct. Right, old 11 and new 12. Right, correct. Fine. fine. So I definitely see 5 to 6 students and actively typing into the chat. Okay, I believe that it is not that easy to write in your notebook, simultaneously give responses very quickly into the chat. Okay, but you are doing a good effort. Okay, it makes it interactive. I appreciate that. Other students, please also keep on doing it into your notebooks, right? I'm definitely going to share every material with you, okay? But if, like I told you, okay, if you don't do it by yourself, okay, along with the session, right, you may find it slightly difficult, okay, or overwhelming that, okay, what is this now? So we all know that now these are the changes. So let us see them reflected into the shared screen, right? So we are now at new position number 11, right? B plus D is identified as a common sub-expression because we can see it in our set, right? As we have discussed, okay, correctly, that a new temporary is to be added, fine. And now that temporary will be added at which position? It will be added at position number 5. Okay, so now at position number 5, I'm adding the instruction B plus D assigned to T3, right? Then E is now having the value coming from T3, and now at new instruction number 12, okay, or old 11, what we are having is T3 is assigned to J, okay, fine. Now let us discuss position number 13. Okay, what do we do at position number 13? Do I need to do anything? Nothing. Why? Why nothing? What is the reason? Answer is correct. Yes, because it is a unary operation that is happening, right? So that is why you don't have to do anything. Okay, yes, correct. It is not binary expression. Okay, very good. Okay, so you have understood, all of you have understood the algorithm thoroughly. Okay, so if you know the concept, applying it into examples is very, very easy. Okay, right. So at position number 13, there is no change. And at position number 14, okay, in this slide, I've already shown you that an expression is common because we see it into AEB. Now reflect all the necessary changes into your code. What will be the change needed? See, if we have a match into our AEB, what do we need to do? No. Why would we remove it from AEB? AEB, we will remove from AEB only if M or N is changing. Okay, but if there is a common expression match is found, then what we have to do? There are some answers. Okay, fine. So in a way, it is good that so many of you are replying. So I have to just scroll the chat a little bit. Okay. Harshit is saying that we have to change 14 number instruction to if T2 go to L2. Correct. Okay. Yes. At 14, Yash is also saying it correctly that it will be replaced by T2. Right. Jinal, same answer. Prutha also same answer. Hannah, same. Yes. And Ketan also same answer. Yes. Correct. Okay. Very good. So all of you have taken an effort and you have got it correct, right? That we will make this particular change. Why we are not generating a new temporary? Because already we have generated T2, okay, which is our temporary. So we will not go for any T4 or anything, okay? If it is already there, then no need to generate it. Simply use it like this, as I have shown you in this current slide. Okay, fine. So this is our example. So when a variable is modified in the code, we need to remove all the quintuples. Yes, yes, correct, very correct. Okay, in our example, because there was only one case where we were assigning to A, okay, so and A was used in only one of the quintuples, right? But if it was used in more than one, then all of them you would have to correct. You have got it absolutely correct. Okay. Any questions? Any further questions arising in your mind? Okay. Fine. Now, before we make a conclusion, okay, are there any questions from the code? Right. So from our original instruction set, okay, for a given basic block, you all should be able to apply the algorithm for local common sub-expression elimination. Name of the algorithm is available using available expression. Okay, that is the name of the algorithm that we have used. So let me give you some exam-oriented tips that in your examination, if you are asked to go for local common sub-expression elimination, whether you are asked to explain it or you are supposed to give an demo, okay, or you are supposed to apply it on a given basic block, then you have to do these particular steps, okay. Usually the questions, if you look at previous papers, okay, basic block is given and you are asked to apply the algorithm on it, okay, or many a times a theoretical question may be asked that you explain the technique, right? Then you have to take a code snippet yourself, okay, and demonstrate as many cases as you can, okay, fine. So now let's make some conclusions. So in the original form of this code, okay, there are 11 instructions, 12 variables, and 9 binary operations. Okay, so um, this is what is the state for the original form of the code. While in the final form, there are 14 instructions, 15 variables, and 4 binary operations that are being performed. Okay. So if you have done it into your notebooks, you can verify this data. Okay. I hope these are correct, right? That we have increased the number of instructions, we have increased the number of variables. Why 3 variables got added? Because we generated 3 temporaries, right? And to make an assignment to these temporaries, we added 3 instructions. So that is why instruction count increased by 3, variable count also increased by 3, but we happen to reduce the number of binary operations, okay, by 5. So initially there were 9 operations, but now we have reduced them to 4. Okay. This is something which we can conclude from the whole exercise that we did, right? Okay, do we have to write all instructions again if something is changed in the examination? Okay. See, ideally you should. Okay, only then you will be able to maintain the current state of your basic block. So if there are 11 instructions, right, you will have to write them all over. Okay. Yes. Now there is some technical conclusion, okay, that can be made, okay, regarding this whole thing that we have done. Okay, statistically we have seen that what numbers changed, right, for the number of variables, number of instructions, and the number of operations that we did. Right now, assuming that all the variables occupy registers and each of the register to register operation requires only single cycle, okay, like in any risk or more advanced test, the original form is to be preferred by, because there are fewer instructions and we will be using fewer registers, okay. But if some of the variables occupy memory locations or redundant operations require more than one cycle, then we will prefer the result of the optimization. Okay, so whether this optimization will actually improve the performance on a block of a code will depend both on the code and the machine on which it is executed. So directly you cannot say that always this optimization will be helpful or beneficial, right? So this is what we can conclude from the whole exercise of doing the local common sub expression elimination. Okay, fine. So Next time, what we will do is we will apply it globally on the whole graph. Okay, because that again will require a lot of time. That's a whole set of steps that we have to follow. Right? So in 5 minutes, we will not be able to do it. So if you have any questions regarding this topic or lab session or anything, okay, you can just ask them very quickly.